Hey guys, welcome to Southern Food Junkie. Today we're going to bring you a Thanksgiving recipe. We're making pumpkin bars, and I hope that you'll try it because I'm sure that you'll love it. We've made pumpkin rolls. I actually just made one about 2 weeks ago, and I'm telling you, everybody loves it that tries it. Even if you're not a big fan of pumpkin, the pumpkin is not really strong in it, so I'm sure that you'll love it. So stick around and try it, guys. Guys, the first thing we want to do when we're making our pumpkin bars is we want to set our oven to 375 to get that preheated, so when we get ready to put our mixture in our pan, it'll be ready. And we're going to use a 15 by 10 jelly roll pan, or just a biscuit pan, just something with a little bit of a lip like this. So that's what you're going to need, and you want to put some parchment paper down onto your pan. And I like to put a little bit of Crisco, some vegetable Crisco down first to help that paper stick to it, and then I put a little bit on top just to keep it from sticking. Because what we're going to do is we're going to flip this out onto a drying rack. Okay, to start with, we're going to use 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, AP flour. Next thing we're going to do is add in our leavening agents. We're going to use half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. This makes the all-purpose flour rise. And then we're going to add in our pumpkin spice. So we'll be adding in a teaspoon of pumpkin spice to this. Now we're going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. It's a good idea not to do this over the top of your bowl, because you can end up adding extra stuff in there. Now we'll combine this together really well with a whisk. This bowl to the side for a second. And we're going to get a smaller bowl and put 3 eggs in it. And then we're also going to put in our granulated sugar, which it calls for 1 cup of granulated sugar. Basically what we're going to do is cream the sugar. Next we're going to add in our 1 cup of sugar. I'm going with just a tiny bit less than a cup. Well, we're using Libby's 100% pure pumpkin, all natural, no preservatives. So what we want to do is we want to beat this until it's thick, and then we're going to add in our pumpkin. So before I start beating this, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. 3/4 of the can is what you're going to need. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. Now we're going to just beat these until they're thick. Alright, let's beat in our pumpkin puree. Alright guys, our next job is to add in our flour mixture that we have already mixed up with our dry ingredients. We're going to blend it into here. We're going to do a little bit at a time. I'm going to add half of it, mix it, and then I'll add the other half, okay? The very next step we're going to do is pour our batter into our jelly roll pan. Once we get that done, we're going to shake the pan to make sure it settles evenly and to get any bubbles out. Smooth it out a good bit, and it brought some of those bubbles to the top there. How to throw this cake in the oven. It's going to cook, like I said before, at 375 for roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. You basically just want to touch the middle of the cake and make sure it springs back a little bit. You can do the toothpick test. While the cake is cooking, let's go ahead and make our icing. It's a basic cream cheese icing. It's going to combine cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar. Filling is done. We're going to set this to the side, and we'll take a few of our walnuts and chop them up, roughly about a cup. And we'll wait on our cake to be done, and we'll be ready to spread it. We had our cake in there for 12 minutes. I stuck a toothpick in it. It's still coming out a little dirty. We're gonna give it 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna pull it out. We're gonna take it out of our pan and put it on our drying rack on top of a towel so it won't get so many grooves in it. And then we're gonna let it completely cool down, and then we'll put our ice. Toothpick's coming out clean. We're gonna let it cool off now. Now we're just gonna let it cool off. What we're gonna do is put our icing on here. Our cake has cooled. Hopefully this will spread out without tearing. Got it icing up. Got it spread as evenly as we could. You could go ahead and square this off if you was looking for, like the perfect presentation. You could cut these edges off and make it completely square. We're not going to worry about that. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle our nuts on here. Actually, I'm going to take it off of my drying rack first. Now we're just going to sprinkle our nuts on top. You want to do this from a high position so they spread pretty evenly. And that's why I'm doing them over top of this this towel here, so so it catches anything that falls over. Here we got the pumpkin bars are done, and we're gonna try it out for you. See what this tastes like. Here you can see the texture of it. It's a real spongy. Try this out. Man, that is so good. Even though it's got a good bit of sugar in it, it's not overly sweet. Give it a try, guys, see if you like it. I'll put the recipe down below, and I'll also try to put it on my website here in the next week or so. Y'all make sure you share it for me. I appreciate it.